Hey brothers and sisters, it's Bishop Tapp again. We are on part number 15 of Self-Reliance today. I do want to go back and correct something I said in the last video. It's not the 529 if you're saving for your kids' college. It is the ESA, the Educational Savings Account, that allows you to put money in investments that are earmarked to your kids. It's tax protected, and then once they turn 18, they can use it for their college expenses. And so that's a good way to go doing that. So, all right, let's move on. Again, last time in our baby steps, we were talking about number 5, save for college. Now, number 6, we want to pay off your home early. Now, we haven't really talked much about homes as an investment, but if you haven't thought through this already, your home is going to be the biggest and best investment that you make. Many people have that as one of their primary sources of their wealth, and so we want to talk a little bit about home ownership now. If you're in the baby steps and you don't have a home, let's talk about when you should purchase a home. You should not purchase a home if you've got a mountain of other debt. That's just adding more debt on top of it. A mortgage is debt. Now, the prophets have said you can go into debt for a modest home. But that doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. There are people who pay cash for homes. Now, not saying that you should do that, but just be aware there are multiple options on how to do it. And so if you've got through baby step 1, you've saved your $1,000, baby step 2 paid off all of your debt, and baby step 3 is save 3 to 6 months of expenses, there's really a baby step 3B, and that's save a 20% down payment for a house. So let's talk about that for a minute. If you don't put 20% down on a house, you're going to be paying what's called primary mortgage insurance, or PMI. PMI essentially insures the bank in case you default, because they view you, if you don't have enough money to put down 20%, you really shouldn't be buying a home. But because they're now more willing to take the risk than they used to be, they just make you essentially buy an insurance policy for them. That way, if you default on the loan, it covers their costs of having to foreclose on you. PMI can be between $200 and $300 a month. And that's just throwaway money. And so buying a home with less than 20% down is a big problem. If you don't even know what PMI is, you might want to check your mortgage and see if you have PMI on it. If you do, it might be a good idea, assuming all of the numbers make sense and your payoff time period on the expenses of doing this is worth it. You can refinance your home to get rid of PMI. And so just think about that. There are some ways to lower your monthly expenses. So check that out. The other thing, though, in purchasing a home, you need to make sure that your home is less than a quarter of your take-home pay. Meaning, if I bring home, or excuse me, not your home, your payment on your mortgage will be less than a quarter of your take-home pay. That means if I bring home $2,000 a month, I really can't afford a more than a $500 mortgage. Now, that's just something to think about. But again, if you bring home $6,000, then that's like a $1,500 mortgage. And so the reason is, if you get a mortgage that's higher than a quarter of your take-home pay, it makes it hard to invest, pay off other things, and really set yourself up for the long term. So use that kind of as a benchmark. The other thing we want to do is to pay off, is if you can, put your home on a 15-year mortgage. You really need to get to that point where you can put your home on a 15-year mortgage. There's lots of reasoning for that, but here's one of the biggest reasoning. If you project out 10 years on a 30-year mortgage, you've almost paid, I believe it's double in interest than you have in principal. So you've spent most of your money on interest, and you have very little ownership in the house as far as your equity. And so on a 15-year mortgage, though, it's almost opposite. You over 10 years will have put almost double in principal what you have in interest. So think about some of those things as you go and get a mortgage. Again, if you're not budgeting, it actually, a 15-year mortgage can feel nigh into impossible. But if you really watch your budget every month, 15-year mortgages can be very doable for most people. But the baby step we're talking about isn't just paying on your mortgage, it's paying your home off early. You have to remember, back in baby step 2, we paid off all debt except for the house. Baby step, what are we on, 6, is paying off your house, because your house is your last chunk of debt. And so if you get completely debt free, you'll be able to do that. And so it's just more freeing. You'll have more peace, and you'll be way more self-reliant. So we want to pay down the house as quickly as we can, but don't do it until after you put 15% away in investments, saved for your kids' retirement, or not your kids' retirement, your kids' education, if you're going to do that, and then throw extra money at the house. You would be surprised at what an extra $100 of principal does. Paying an extra $100 of principal every month. I should have been a little more prepared today, but I believe it can knock off like 8 years off of a 30-year mortgage. If you will pay the next month's principal every month, you will cut your mortgage time in half. The interesting thing, as I've listened to Dave Ramsey and others, they talk about people who really get after it can pay their home off in 7 years. I heard that and I was like, yeah, right, that's a pipe dream. Until I started running the numbers in me and Maddie's life, and I was like, holy cow, that's not a pipe dream. It's totally doable if we accomplish X, Y, and Z. And so if you have a paid off house, then you have way more ability to start investing in the next thing. Because if you don't have, let's say you have a $1,200 mortgage or a $1,000 mortgage, if you don't have that $1,000 to $1,200 every month going out in mortgage, think of what you can do. You can put that in investments. You can save up, maybe buy a second house, because it's way easier and faster to buy a house in cash than it is with a mortgage, because you're paying so much interest with a mortgage. And so think about some of those other things. The other thing with houses then is make sure that you are paying it off. Don't pay it off and then go get a new mortgage or take out a home equity line of credit. Save money instead. That is being self-reliant. And so if you own that, that gives you a lot of stability in your home. In your life, you need way less money in retirement if you don't have to pay a mortgage. And so consider some of those options, or some of those things. The last thing I kind of want to mention with houses is a lot of people are like, well, why would you pay off your house? You get a tax break if you have a mortgage, which is true. You do get a tax break, but think about this. If you're paying $10,000 a year in interest on your mortgage, and you get a $2,500 tax break, So you're like, well, I'll keep my mortgage so I can pay $2,500. You're literally paying $10,000 to get $2,500 back. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so if you will pay off your mortgage, that's just more money in your pocket building up to where you're financially stable. And so that's really all I've got to say about home ownership and paying off the house early. But hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, that I guess we'll pick up on the next one, which is baby step number 7 after that. We'll talk to you later.